The United States Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, has been conducting a lengthy investigation into securities cases, and the outcome of the high-profile lawsuit filed by Chevron might put an end to this investigation. The decision of the court marks the end of the tyranny of regulators. Friday was the day that the Supreme Court reversed a ruling that had, for a considerable amount of time, granted federal authorities extensive regulatory authority. Chevron v. National Resources Defense Council, which was decided in 1984, provided regulatory agencies such as the Securities and Exchange Commission with the authority to make modifications to regulations without the approval of Congress. It was established through this case that when the text of statutes is ambiguous, the courts should defer to the decisions and experience of regulators. There was a reputation among these regulatory authorities for providing interpretations of the laws that they were tasked with enforcing. During the time that they were waiting for Congress to approve new laws, regulators continued to take action on time-sensitive situations because they were armed with such respect. In the end, Chief Justice John Roberts arrived at the realization that the Chevron deference rule could no longer be implemented. He mentioned the fact that the theory allows for agencies to alter their course of action even if they do not receive authorization from Congress. On the other hand, the administration of Vice President Joe Biden is appealing against the decision of the Supreme Court and requesting that it maintain the Chevron deference standard. Bedrock principle of administrative law was the term that the administration used to describe it. Track down on cryptocurrency companies by the SEC, several cryptocurrency exchanges, including some of the most important companies in the market, have been subjected to an ongoing crackdown by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Taking into consideration the existence of this Chevron deference rule, the agency increased the severity of its crackdown strategy. To justify the suspension of cryptocurrency trading on exchanges, the commission repeatedly cited the Howey test as the main justification. Several cryptocurrency exchanges, including Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken, have been ostracized by the commission because they are suspected of selling registered securities for sale online. As the Securities and Exchange Commission continued to refer to XRP as a security, Ripple was involved in a case with the securities regulator that lasted for 3 years. As a result, the ruling of the Supreme Court has established a precedent for all of the crypto cases that are currently pending due to Coinbase's refusal to comply with the Freedom of Information Act. A XRP request, the commission is currently in the process of filing a lawsuit against the company. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation is also involved in this matter, and the cryptocurrency exchange has sought that the court order both of these agencies to produce the information that they have requested. This new development is noteworthy because it comes just a few hours after the Supreme Court made a decision that reduced the power of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, by deciding that defendants in fraud charges had the right to a jury trial in federal court. The Chevron deference theory has been effectively deconstructed by the Supreme Court of the United States, which has resulted in a restructuring of how courts will read federal rules. This case highlights a substantial divergence from prior practices in which courts frequently resorted to the competence of federal agencies when dealing with unclear statutory language. The overthrow was supported by 6 justices who were selected by Republicans. The decision opens the door for courts, rather than agency experts, to interpret such statutes, which has the potential to affect a variety of regulatory domains, including consumer safety and environmental regulations. Reduction in the agency's interpretative power due to Chevron overturned the termination of Chevron's deference results in a reduction of the interpretive authority that federal agencies have generally possessed in areas about regulatory matters. In the past, agencies such as the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and the Securities and Exchange Commission have benefited from judicial deference, which has enabled them to apply expert judgment to difficult matters that fall under their jurisdiction. However, as a result of the recent decision made by the court, federal judges will no longer be forced to rely on agency interpretations when they are confronted with congressional provisions that are open to interpretation. The implementation of this modification ushers in a new era of legal interpretations, one in which judges are granted the authority to independently make these conclusions. Therefore, regulatory authorities could require assistance to enforce and put into effect the regulations that are already in place, because the clarity that was previously offered by agency interpretations is diminished. This change may increase the number of lawsuits filed. There's also the possibility that industries that are governed by these agencies will face uncertainty as they negotiate the shifting landscape of federal monitoring. This uncertainty extends to the telecommunications and environmental management industries, both of which are areas in which regulatory advice is essential for making decisions on operations and strategies. As a result of the AC merger, FETCHA has confirmed that manual conversion options are available. Lawsuits against Ripple and Coinbase are boosted by Supreme Court ruling. It is possible that this ruling from the Supreme Court will have direct repercussions for the cryptocurrency business, particularly for companies such as Ripple and Coinbase. Furthermore, the finding is particularly pertinent in the continuing legal battles that these corporations are engaged in with the SEC. For example, the Securities and Exchange Commission's interpretations of the Securities Act have played a role in the dispute that Ripple is having with the SEC on whether or not its XR tokens are considered securities. By the Chevron framework, the courts had deferred to the expertise of the SEC. An independent interpretation of these laws will be provided by the judges, which may be favorable to Ripple's position in the ongoing case between XRP and the SEC. Along the same lines, Coinbase's case against the Securities and Exchange Commission SEC addressing allegations that it operates as an unregistered securities exchange gains momentum as a result of this ruling. Coinbase contends that its operations do not fall under the regulations of the Securities and Exchange Commission, a position that may now receive a more favorable hearing in the judiciary may adopt less severe interpretations of what constitutes a security under the law as a result of the absence of Chevron's deference. This could potentially accord with the opinions of crypto businesses, which are that their offerings need to meet the traditional requirements specified in the Howey test, such as Binance's BNB are not securities. The judge is also in agreement with the decision made by the Second Circuit Court, which stated that secondary transactions involving crypto assets are not securities. Through this precedent, cryptocurrency businesses can combat SEC regulation. A pro-XRP attorney named Bill Morgan has expressed his satisfaction with the verdict, describing it as a great development for XRP holders and the cryptocurrency community as a whole. The decision also makes it clear that possible appeals by the Securities and Exchange Commission SEC against the summary judgment issued by Judge Torres could result in further escalation to the Second Circuit Court. In the case of the Securities and Exchange Commission versus Binance, Judge Amy Berman Jackson dismissed the SEC's contention that a cryptocurrency token is always considered to be an investment contract. Morgan explains this. She regarded the perspectives presented in the Ripple and Telegram cases to be clarifying and persuasive about this matter. He stresses that the ruling that Judge Torres made on the classification of XRP as a security is now being used as a legal example in court. Ellen Murterret asserts that Coinbase, Kraken, and Consensus will utilize the new verdict from Binance to bolster their legal claims and that the SEC will no longer be able to assert that the Ripple order was an isolated decision. The information that has been provided is not intended to be trading advice. There is no responsibility for any investments that are made based on the information that is provided on this page. Before making any decision about investments, you strongly advise conducting independent research and knowledgeable professional